Hello, thank you for joining me. Welcome back to another video. And this video has come from two questions from two different people, two different subscribers. And the question is about South Africa. Obviously, or not obviously, if you don't know, we've just had elections in South Africa. And it's a big complicated issue. The ex-president who got done for corruption basically started a new party and they've done very well. And the ANC have lost their majority for the first time since they came into power. And there's a lot of discontent with the way things haven't been looked after in South Africa. I could get very political, but I won't because it's about the future, not the past. So basically there's no majority in the elections and there's got to be coalitions. Well, that's what we thought. And then the ex-president, Jacob Zuma, has demanded a recount. I think he thought his party, the MK party, was going to do a lot better than it did. I don't know, maybe he knows that something went on. Who knows? Maybe he does. So basically, this is a reading about South Africa, the future of South Africa, because depending which parties form a coalition, some of them are very opposed to each other, like parties are. So it's an opportunity, I personally think, for a whole new world, a whole new governance of real fairness, real equality, real justice. And again, it always makes me laugh when I hear people going on about justice and equality, and then you see politicians just getting away with the most terrible embezzlement and crimes and stuff, and you just think, well, when we have equality and people are actually punished for the terrible things that they do, equality goes over so many levels of kind of, it's just like, okay. Anyway, I won't get political, even though we just have. Cyril Ramaphosa, the current president, hasn't really been seen since the election, hasn't been around a lot. So two new parties, the MK party and the Patriotic Alliance, did very well in South Africa. So the question is, I'm going to do quick readings on two questions, okay? So the first question I got was about, is there going to be a coup in South Africa? Because, there's a lot of, it's quite interesting here. And I think actually, even though I'm going to use the word here in South Africa, as in the Zulu tribe, the Shwana tribe, I probably said that very wrong, and all the other kind of tribes that there are in South Africa. Someone said to me the other day, it's very un-PC to use the word tribe. But, we all come from a tribe, whether it's a Scottish clan, a Welsh kind of clan, or a Cornish clan, Cornish roots like I've got. It's kind of, we all come from some kind of tribe. So I like the word tribe, but yeah. So let's see. Why, like Mars Attacks, the film, why can't we all just get along? Why can't we just let people just be what they want to be without being harmful to other people? Anyway, I won't go on. South Africa, we're asking the question, is there going to be a coup in South Africa? Is there going to be a coup? Is it all going to kick off? There's been a lot of this in Africa in the past year. Lots of coups going on. Is there going to be a coup? Ooh, there's a lot of influence. Everyone's got their fingers in so many pies, or want to have their influence from not only inside South Africa, but all around. When you have a look at it, everybody wants to have a bit of the control with money and promises. And I've always said since I've been here, they've got so many resources in South Africa, so many things that people want, from diamonds to lithium to cobalt to nickel to everything else, that they really should be a very, very wealthy continent, and they're not, and we know why. So anyway, I've shuffled them. Significator, this is about a coup of South Africa. Okay, so at the moment, 9 of Pentacles. It's like, okay, that's quite funny because, the 9 of Pentacles, well, I suppose, no, it does make sense. It's about Daedalus building up his, he's built up his reputation and his coffers, and he's built up his material wealth, and then he lost it and he had to run away, and he built it up again and he lost it, and then he has to build it up again. Finally he gets to a point where he finally gets some stability, and that stability, pentacles are not just money, it's the earth, it's the body, it's the environment. So that's interesting for South Africa. It could be very rich, if it looked after its own stuff and did its own mining and, sorted out things fairly. This card keeps coming up. What's crossing the Nine of Pentacles? Is it a bridge or an obstacle? You tell me. Death. Death, death, death. Not surprising. It is the death, because those elections, there's no majority. There's no outstanding party. They've all got to work together. It is the death of the ANC. It is the death of how people people had such dreams of the ANC, and I know from living in South Africa, the dream has been completely shattered. Too much corruption, too little money ploughed back into society, like a lot of politicians all over the world. Too little I think the black population, particularly in South Africa, were really hoping that having black rulership would really help the majority of the population here, and it hasn't, and the empty promises have really driven a lot of people kind of into despair. The voter turnout in our elections were 58%, which I don't think is too bad, but I think a lot of the youth were just completely, they all lie. I heard a few people interviewed on the telly, it's like they all lie. Politicians just lie, and they look after themselves and the lobbyists. They don't look after the people, the country. They look after the people who want stuff from the country and who are paying money, funding parties and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, Diane. What's the overarching? Oh dear, yeah, Eight of Swords. Doesn't this keep coming up a lot as well? It's kind of in the world, isn't it? This vibe. The overarching, when I'm asking about a coup in South Africa, there's going to be a lot of, what I really like about South Africa is that people do take to the streets. It's quite amazing to see that people are not lazy. They get to the streets. They do not follow anything they do not agree with. They take to the streets, and some of the people get completely manipulated by, the poorer people get manipulated by being given food parcels to vote in a certain way, and then other people kind of just take to the streets and riot and loot and destroy, unfortunately, burn schools, burn libraries, but they get heard. And I've seen since I've been here, it kind of works, because things have been reversed or overturned because of it. So the Eight of Swords in the overarching position, yeah, there's pain here, isn't there? There's pain here already. It'll be interesting what comes in the future card, because that is like pain, suffering, feeling like, and I realise the parties, they're so opposed to each other on so many things, issues and policies, that there is two opposing things, people in the middle. They don't want to compromise, they want their own way, and there's all that ego. But the Eight of Swords and the overarching is, as you know, difficult, bound, gagged, unwilling to kind of feeling trapped and bound, and who's got the let's see, what's at the root of the problem? Oh God, blimey, the Tower. Everything's coming down. Oh, I say. Wow, the Tower. So okay. The Tower here is Poseidon, and he's basically going to bring down this tower. And in this deck, it's about within here, there's big secrets within the tower. And once the tower comes down, obviously the tower is raising things to the ground. It's like I always think like a Uranus card. Lightning bolt hit the tower. It's raising things to the ground. It's it's like the end. So you got death and the tower. That is a big deal of a reading. oh, crikey, at this moment, is there going to be a coup? There's going to be absolute uproar, at this moment as I look at these cards. But let's carry on. What was in the past? The moon, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. In the politics here, the dark shadows, like a lot of countries, the dark shadow of politics, the deep and conscious, the moon on a good day is the tidal, the tidal pull, the almost like irresistible pull to do something, to be attracted to something, to want to do and act in a certain way. It's about reflective light. It's the possibility, here you've got Diana the huntress, and the moon above her head, the phases of the moon, the changeability of the moon. But also the moon is about, you can see the reflective light in there, seeing things from a different point of view. But it is also nightmares, the deep and conscious, things that give you fears and spooks and stuff like that, and facing up to that kind of thing and recognising them. Well, wow, the politics here. I've always said that South Africa needs a deep therapy. Maybe like a lot of countries, it needs a lot of healing. It needs a lot of divine intervention and kind of love. It needs a lot of love. There are people here doing a lot of stuff to create the love vibe. So what's in the future? Oh wow, look at that. In the future, this looks hopeful. Look at that. You had the 9 of Pentacles, then you've got the 10 of Pentacles. So this is really interesting. Wow, that's fascinating. Because from a political point of view, you'd kind of say, right, the 10 of Pentacles, this is Daedalus leaving this kind of legacy on Earth. It's Pentacles, it's tangible, it's touchable, it's the element of Earth, leaving a legacy that will last way after his passing over into the spirit realm. It's a very lovely card of like everything's come together, everything is working. Here he is with his family and his pentacles and his fertility. That is a very positive card. So it looks like, at the moment, it looks like a lot of destruction, a lot of endings in South Africa, and the possibility, really, that everyone wishes for. How Mandela said the Rainbow Nation. But, I could go into, the whole... No, I won't do that. So that's the future, the 10 of Pentacles. It's possible, to build something completely new. Have a coalition with people who truly want peace, who truly want to, for the good of all, who truly want to build, build industry. It's such a rich continent. It's like build industry, build your own. When I first came here, it's interesting how. It was a whole place of, because South Africa was sanctioned, they had to do everything themselves. Textiles, footwear, they made everything themselves in their own country. And obviously no one agreed with apartheid. Well, actually, some people did. And then, but they built this massive, very kind of self-sufficient country. And I never understand why countries don't do that. Why don't they just build stuff in their own country? Made in Britain, made in America, made in China, made in Russia, made in Poland. Just make your own stuff. I know I've said that before. Okay, back to the coup in South Africa. So where does it find itself? It feels like in quite a position of power. And I know that, we already have here quite a bit of Chinese influence, American influence, and a bit of Russian influence, I think. But then a lot of, there's parties that align with, I won't go into that. That's too complicated. So where does South Africa find itself? King of Swords, in a position of power, mental. This is where it's got to find itself, because sometimes people think they're clever and intellectual and they're not, because you see it all the time in politics. You see all the people who are the stupidest, don't you, in the positions of power. I don't get it. I don't know how they get to keep their job, but hey, they do. So King of Swords, it's about power. Look at him, he's sitting there, and it's swords, it's air, it's an intellect, it's intelligence, it's seeing the whole picture, seeing the details, good communication, good negotiation. That's how South Africa sees itself. But, it's got to stop the infighting and really, truly have everyone's benefit at the heart of the decisions that they make. So, how do other people see? Oh, well, that's really apt. The chariot, the white horse and the black horse. I could make quite a bit. I won't go there either. So the chariot it's the obviously the two pillars. It's kind of representation of the two pillars: the white horse, the black horse. Which way? The chariot is about who's driving the carriage, who's got control of the reins, and I think that's so apt with this reading. And South Africa, who has got control of the reins? That will be the whole point of if it flies or sinks. If it dissolves into chaos, or if it gets, pulled up into order and honesty and integrity. There's very little integrity in the South African politicians. A lot of them who, they do steal just so much money and just go, no one says anything. It's okay, that's just kind of what people do, isn't it? But I know that happens in lots of different, I saw a guy in Japan the other day, didn't he? He stole millions of yen, and he's been sentenced to death. But he's been sentenced to death. Here they just go, oh, okay, great. See if I can get more than you can get. It's bizarre. So anyway, how do other people see South Africa? Who's driving the reins is going to make all the difference. The warrior is there. He's dressed for battle. He's in gold. He's got the spear in the background. He looks like the ground is being churned up by the horses. It's things are quickening up. There's an urgency, it feels like, with the chariot. Where's it going? Who is holding the reins? Very interesting and very poignant, I think. So, hopes and fears. Okay, I would say that was a hope. The Ace of Swords. So a lot of swords, a lot of powerful swords. This is Atalanta, the goddess of the kind of justice, war kind of thing. With, again, swords. Cut through the bullshit, cut through the rubbish, cut through this old stuff. I was only saying earlier today to my dear beloved, when people move on from the old regime, and I don't mean in any country, not just here, when the personal hurts and the personal grudges and resentments and revenge mentality end, then cut through all that, see the possibility, educate people, get them working, get them feeling empowered, get them kind of in their own power and contributing to the massive potential of South Africa. Cut through the rubbish. That's what they need. They need someone just to be able to speak clearly. That isn't. I mean, I don't know. People don't seem in politics, do they? To be able to just kind of be neutral and just literally see the good of the citizens that they make decisions for. As I always say, they work for us. They work for us. The government works for us. Well, they stopped doing that quite a while ago in America and Europe and all over the place. So, what's the outcome? Okay, well, is there going to be a coup? I'd say no. Basically, we have at the end the 9 of Cups. Wow, that's quite interesting. So this is Aphrodite and Apollo and Psyche, Eros, and Psyche. They've been through hell and high water. He's dumped her because she didn't trust him, and then she had to go into the underworld and do a load of penance kind of exercises, and eventually she passes them all and they get to be together again in love and union. Isn't that an interesting kind of metaphor for South Africa? Wow, that is quite something, isn't it? What a metaphor for South Africa. Being through hell and high water, had to go to the underworld, but the possibilities are amazing if people come together in true peace, intelligence, because this is intelligence, be intelligent, use your mind, okay, have some integrity, have some honesty and decent leadership. Need strong leadership, and then this is the possibility. So regarding the question of a coup, I would say no. Well, I don't know. Let me just re-clarify that. There's all this tower energy, the death, Eight of Swords, King of Swords. There's these major arcana, the Tower. Wow. There's definitely going to be a kind of razing to the ground of certain things in South Africa, by the looks of it. Whether that's a coalition, whether it is a coup, that there's a pain with the Tower. I mean, this definitely could be a coup. The Tower, like a complete breakdown of everything that we know. But the good thing is that after that, there does come something. Again, it depends who's pulling the strings, doesn't it? It's a hard one to call. There's definitely going to be some deconstruction, to say the least. And then that Nine of Cups is like, wow, cool. I feel quite optimistic with that kind of stuff. So, okay, there could be a coup. There really could. And then maybe someone else. I mean, when I saw the Nine of Cups, I thought, nah, there's not going to be a coup. It's going to be sorted out. But how is it going to be sorted out? What is going to be sorted out? Who's in charge? Who's pulling the reins? Because according to who's pulling the reins with the Chariot is who will be supporting South Africa, funding South Africa, giving money to South Africa, and bringing order and maybe all the good things. Oh, it's hard to call it. It's hard. Wow. It's very difficult to say if it's a coup or if it's just the new coalition. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Is it the coalition and they have all these rows and arguments and all this breakdown? Does Jacob Zuma get a recount or not? I think there's normally what happens here if people, like I said, don't get the way they take to the streets, and there's a lot of kind of rioting, and then there's all kinds of rethinking of what's been decided. Okay, is it going to be a coup? Is there going to be a coup? Even my heart centre is like this. It's like, it's on a knife edge. It's on a knife edge. Maybe that's it, it's on a knife edge. And depending on the Chariot and what comes. Oh, what do you reckon? Give me a shout in the comments about South Africa, or is it just the normal chaos that's going to come? And like I said, the coalition, I'm just repeating myself, the coalition causes all kinds of deconstruction, ready to reconstruct, and end up with the Nine of Cups. Well, it's a nice ending. It's a very positive ending, the Nine of Cups, but not without that chaos in between. Chaos and deconstruction, endings, end of cycle, as we well know, the ending of the certain ways of being. It's the end of the ANC, it's the end of their rule, it's ended with great disappointment, and because everyone had such high hopes. But yeah, okay. I'm just going to leave it on a knife's edge. It's a bit of a cop-out, but hey, that's my prerogative. So